For decades, Area 51 has been treated as a joke, a symbol of alien stories and flying saucer myths. That image did not appear by accident. While the public looked to the sky searching for impossible answers, the real purpose of the base remained deliberately out of focus. Area 51 was never built to hide visitors from another planet. It was created to protect something far more valuable and far more real: advanced military technology, experimental aircraft, and the freedom to fail far away from public scrutiny. At the beginning of the Cold War, the United States faced a critical strategic problem. Enemy nations were rapidly improving their radar systems and air defenses, making traditional reconnaissance aircraft increasingly vulnerable. To maintain superiority, the US needed aircraft that could fly higher, faster, and in ways no existing defense system could track or intercept. Developing such technology required dangerous experimentation. Prototypes would crash, designs would fail, pilots could die. None of this could happen in public view, where failure could become propaganda for adversaries. The solution was isolation. Deep in the Nevada desert, near a dry lake bed known as Groom Lake, the government found the perfect location. There were no cities nearby, almost no civilian air traffic, and vast stretches of empty land. Construction began quietly, and soon a facility existed that officially did not exist at all. It did not appear on public maps, was not acknowledged by officials, and was absent from government records available to civilians. Yet hundreds of engineers, pilots, and technicians reported there every day. During the 1950s and 1960s, civilians across the American Southwest began reporting strange objects in the sky. These aircraft flew higher than anything known at the time, moved without visible propulsion, and often produced no sound. The government dismissed these sightings, attributing them to weather balloons, atmospheric distortions, or simple misidentification. Decades later, declassified documents revealed the truth. The sightings matched the flight profiles of the U-2 spy plane, the A-12 Oxcart, and later the SR-71 Blackbird, all developed and tested at Area 51. A pattern became clear. First came total denial, then years of silence, and finally partial admission, but only after the technology had become obsolete. By the time the public learned about these aircraft, they no longer represented a strategic advantage. Secrecy was not about deception for its own sake. It was about timing. Reveal only what no longer matters. To maintain this secrecy, Area 51 implemented some of the strictest security measures ever used. Employees were not allowed to drive to the base. Instead, they were transported by unmarked buses or by discreet white aircraft, later nicknamed Janet flights. Windows were covered, routes changed frequently. Many workers did not know exactly where they were going until they arrived. Even then, they were forbidden from saying the name of the location out loud. Every person who worked there signed lifetime non-disclosure agreements. These were not contracts that expired after a few years. They lasted forever. Violating them could result in criminal charges, heavy fines, and permanent exclusion from the aerospace industry. Some former employees eventually spoke publicly, but even decades later, most remain silent, careful to avoid technical details that are still classified. Contrary to popular belief, aliens were never the central secret of Area 51. The real secret was time. The base allowed the United States to develop technology decades ahead of public knowledge, and in some cases, ahead of its adversaries. Stealth shaping, radar-absorbing materials, advanced propulsion concepts, and experimental flight control systems were being tested long before the world knew such ideas were possible. In the 1970s, commercial pilots reported unexplained radar anomalies when flying near restricted airspace in Nevada. Their radar systems did not malfunction in a conventional way. They simply failed to detect objects that were clearly visible to the naked eye. At the time, no explanation was provided. Years later, declassified engineering reports confirmed that stealth aircraft were specifically designed to do exactly that, become invisible to radar. Once again, what seemed impossible had already been tested in secret. The alien narrative proved useful. Unusual aircraft shapes and unconventional flight behavior fueled speculation. Rather than correcting these rumors, authorities allowed them to spread. Aliens became a convenient distraction. While the public debated extraterrestrial life, few questioned the existence of next-generation weapon systems or experimental surveillance technology. The myth served as a perfect smokescreen. Over time, parts of Area 51 were officially acknowledged. Documents were released, maps were updated, but acknowledgement did not mean transparency. Declassification is a controlled process. Information is only released when it no longer provides strategic value. Anything still useful remains hidden, regardless of how old it is. That is why large portions of the surrounding airspace remain restricted and why many records are still sealed. Area 51 should not be understood solely as a physical location. It represents a system, a method of developing technology under complete secrecy, where failure is expected and protected, and success remains invisible for as long as possible. If Area 51 ever becomes obsolete, another facility will replace it. The name may change, but the strategy will not. History shows that every time the government finally admits the truth about something connected to Area 51, the real story has already moved on. What is revealed belongs to the past. What shapes the future remains hidden. This leads to an uncomfortable question. If the aircraft tested there decades ago shocked those who saw them at the time, how would the world react if it could see what is being tested today? Area 51 was never about what fell from the sky. It has always been about what humans can build when no one is watching. And if history is any indication, whatever is hidden there now will only be revealed when it no longer matters.